Changes are coming to Minnesota's college savings plan that could make it more attractive than ever for parents saving for their child's education. For many of us, the high cost of college tuition has become a real impediment. But planning now could make a real difference in your child's future, and it doesn't take a big investment to get started. Joining us now is Robert Stern, the Minnesota College Savings Plan's Program Manager. And thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, many Minnesotans might not even know that there's a state-sanctioned college savings plan. Maybe
that's right.
Maybe start by telling us about it.
Well, we like to say it's the best, well-kept secret in the state. The plan has been in existence since 2001. There are 33,000 plus account holders, over 60,000 accounts. One of the reasons, though, that people don't realize that it's there, I think, is if you were to walk into an advisor's office, say a Wells Fargo or a Ameriprise or whatever, odds are the advisors won't tell you about that because our plan is direct sold. And so it's the consumer needs to figure out that it's there and then sign up for it themselves on our website or by calling. So.
And why would they choose to do that as opposed to using another plan?
Great question. Well, all 529 plans, but specifically the one here in Minnesota, the big draw is the tax savings. So all of the earnings that you have in a plan like this, when you take the money out at the end to use it for college, you get to take it out tax-free. And that can be really substantial for people. It can be, if say you've put in $10,000 and at the end you have 25, you basically get to take that 15,000 out tax-free, and you would have had to pay taxes all the way along if you'd done it yourself. So that's one of the reasons that these plans are very popular.
And is the risk managed in these so that people don't wind up contributing and then losing all of that money that they want to save for their college?
Right. There's a whole menu of investment options. They range from what we call the guaranteed option, which pays 1.2% now. Which isn't high, but it's much better than you could get, say, at a bank at a money market. But then, of course, we have options at the other end of the spectrum, which would be heavy stock market exposure. But the choice that 95% of our account holders choose is what's called the age-based managed option. And it's really very simple. You just put the age of the child in at the time that you start the plan, and then we manage it all the way along. And so obviously, as the child gets older, the amount of stock market risk is reduced because if you've only got a short time to go, you'd want to make sure you don't suffer the type of problem we had, say, in 2008.
So if you jump in at 17...
Well, it's funny. We get that question a lot. People say, well, is it too late?
Right.
And I always say, every dollar that you save is one less dollar that you're going to have to borrow. And that's really the problem. I think we were talking before the show about how the average Minnesota undergraduate now graduates with over $30,000 in debt from the loans that they have to take, and so they're like starting out with a mortgage basically and no house. So anything you can save will help, even if the child is older. It's good to save whatever you can.
Is this region typical for when you talk about the average student and the average amount that you end up owing? Are we typical here in northeastern Minnesota?
Actually, you're a little bit above average, which is great. Our average account in the plan is a little over $18,000, and in your counties up here, you're anywhere between 19 and 25, so that's good. Obviously, with the cost of college rising as much as it is, though, everybody can always save more. That's what one message that we like to get out there. One other thing I wanted to mention real quick, you can start one of these accounts for as little as $25, and sometimes people hesitate because they think, oh, I have to save so much, and that just paralyzes them. Right. And what we say is just get it going, and then once it's going, you're more likely to use it.
Now, both Pam and I have college-age students right now, and we were talking earlier today about how sometimes it seems like if you do save for your child's education, you're really at a disadvantage when it comes to financial aid. Is that a real concern, or is that just my experience or my perception?
You know what? That's a very common perception, and it's actually right at the top of the list of what we call myths that we need to dispel. The first 75,000 or so that you put into a plan like this has virtually no effect on your ability to qualify for financial aid. Now, obviously, if you've saved, say, 200,000, well, that's going to make a big difference. But again, with the average being only 18, that's not a problem. But that's a very good point, because that is what stops people. They think, oh, well, if I put aside anything, that will hurt my chances for financial aid. The one thing I will tell your viewers that is really crucial, whatever money that you save, you want to avoid putting it in the UGMA or UTMA accounts, where they're actually in the child's name, because those do count dollar for dollar against the financial aid contribution. But with the advent of these plans, you see less and less people doing that.
And just real quickly, what happens if your child decides not to go to college?
Well, that's another question we get a lot. The first thing you want to do is, if your one child decides not to go, these plans are so flexible that you can change the beneficiary. So you can change it to another child, you can change it to your spouse, any blood relative, really. And so that's what you want to do. If for some reason at the end of the line, though, you say, you know what, I really want that money back, we want to go on a vacation or buy a boat or something, well, then it's almost like a retirement account. You would pay a 10% penalty and the income would be taxable. But again, that doesn't happen too often.
All right. Well, it's never too early to start saving. Well, and thank you for coming in and sharing some information.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Really
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
much.